All right, so welcome to today's first class on Cybersecurity Essentials. All right, so looking at the chapter one today, which is Cybersecurity, a world of experts and criminals. All right, so looking at the cybersecurity world, cyber criminals versus cybersecurity specialists. Okay, then we'll look at common threats. So we're going to compare how cybersecurity threats affect individuals, businesses, and organizations. So then we'll look at spreading cybersecurity threats. We'll look at those different factors that would lead to the growth of cybercrime. Then lastly, we'll look at creating more experts. So let's look at the world of cybersecurity. So, cybersecurity has to do with protecting data, which we already know from previous cybersecurity classes that we've had. So, great businesses have been created by collecting and harnessing the power of data and analytics. So, because of this data that has been collected over time, so because of the value of the data, threat actors are wealth thirsty. So the growth of data has created great opportunities for cybersecurity specialists. All right. Then let's look at the domains. All right. There are different domains of cybersecurity. Business, large and small, have recognized the power of big data and data analytics. All right. So both small and large scale businesses are at risk when it comes to cybersecurity. Then organizations like Google, LinkedIn, Amazon provide important services and opportunity for their customers. So because of this, for these organizations to create, for these organizations to create their services or to offer their services, they usually compile large amount of data. So the growth in data collection analytics poses great risk to individuals and modern life if precautions are not taken to protect sensitive data from criminals or others who have intent to harm threat actors generally. So, cyber experts now have the technology to track worldwide weather trends, monitor the oceans, and track the movement and behavior of people, animals, and objects in real time. Then we also have new technologies just like the geospatial information systems and IoE, that's Internet of Everything. All right. So these technologies use data collection for their analysis. All right. So, and the growing collection of data can help people save energy, improve their life, improve efficiencies, and reduce safety risk. Now, cybersecurity criminals versus cybersecurity specialists. So, when we look at cybersecurity in criminals, we're looking at hackers, and hackers can be grouped into three. Okay, we have the white hat hackers, we have the gray hat hackers, and we have the black hat hackers. Now, hackers can either be a hacker can either be a cybersecurity specialist or a cybersecurity criminal. All right. Now let's look at the differences between them. So the white hat hacker attacks break into networks or computer systems to discover weaknesses in order to what improve the security of the system. So a white hat hacker is a good hacker. All right. You can also regard him as an ethical hacker. All right. So then the gray hat hackers are somewhere between the white hat and black hat hackers. The grey hat hackers may find the vulnerability and report it to the owner of the system if that action coincides with their agenda. Alright, so you cannot judge if they are good or bad. Alright, it's just all for their advantage. But when it comes to black hat hackers, on the other hand, they are unethical criminals who violate computer and network security or for personal gain or for malicious reasons such as attacking networks. Then, when it comes to those cyber criminals, they are also in three different um, classes. They are script kiddies. So, script kiddies could be teenagers, okay, they could be hobbies or just people generally learning how to hack. Okay, so they are just going to cause harm, they are not necessarily trying to gain money, or they are just trying to use existing tools online to carry out attacks. and sometimes to prank people. Then we have vulnerability brokers. So these are grey hat hackers who attempt to discover exploits and report them to vendors, sometimes for prizes or rewards. You can see, not necessarily they're not necessarily um, doing it for good, but it's just for their personal gain. Then we have activists. Activists are grey hat hackers who rally and protest against different political and social ideas. So activists publicly protest against organizations or governments by posting articles, videos, leaking sensitive information, and performing distributed denial of service attacks. Then cyber criminals generally are black hat hackers, okay, who are either self-employed or working for legal cybercrime organizations. All right, so which means it should come to your notice that they are cybercrime organizations, and each year cyber criminals are responsible for stealing billions of dollars from different businesses. And there's also state-sponsored hackers. All right, so depending on the person's perspective, so they could either be white hat hackers or they could be gray hat hackers or black hat hackers rather. So what they do is actually they steal government secrets, gather intelligence, and sabotage network. So their targets are foreign governments, terrorist groups, and corporations. So you can see when it comes to foreign governments, they could be white hat hackers when it comes to the benefit of the organization, but to the opposing government, they could be regarded as what black hat hackers. So when they are targeting the terrorist group, they are regarded as white hat hackers. So most countries in the world participate to some degree in state-sponsored hacking. So thwarting the cyber criminals is a difficult task. So company, government, and international organizations have begun to take coordinated actions to limit or fend off cyber criminals. So these actions might include the vulnerability database, all right, which is um, the Nation Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures, which is CVE database, is an example of the development of national database. So this is actually information that um, contains list of different vulnerabilities. You can check that out in the link. Also, early warning systems, which is the honeypots project, is an example of creating early warning systems, and the project provides a honey map which displays real-time visualization of attacks. Then share cyber intelligence. All right, so InfraGard is an example of a widespread sharing of cyber intelligence. So InfraGard program is a partnership between the private sector, public and private sector. So the participants are dedicated to share information and intelligence to prevent hostile cyber attacks. Then we also have the ISM standard. All right, the ISO 27000 standards are an example of the information security management standard, and the standards provide a framework for implementing cybersecurity measures within an organizations. Then we have new laws, so people like the ISACA group track law enacted related to cybersecurity. So these laws can address individual privacy to protection of intellectual property. So examples of this law include Cybersecurity Act, Federal Exchange Data Breach Notification Act, and Data Accountability and Trust Act. Let's look at common threats now. So cybersecurity specialists possess the insight to recognize the influence of data and harness the power to build great organizations. So they provide services that protect people from cyber attacks. Cybersecurity specialists recognize the threats that data poses if used against people. A cybersecurity threat is the possibility that a harmful event, such as an attack, can occur or will occur. So, cyber vulnerability is a weakness that makes a target susceptible to an attack, and cyber threats are particularly dangerous to certain industries and the type of information they collect and protect. So, where are data? Where is data actually gotten from? So, data could be gotten from people's personal information, people's medical record, people's educational information or educational record, or people employment and financial record. So, your data is it could be your identity, all right? It could be your information that is online, all right? It could be the data that you have stored on your system or your gadgets, your computing device, and so on. So network services like DNS, HTTP, and online databases are prime targets for cyber criminals. So cyber criminals use packet sniffing tools to capture data streams over a network. So packet sniffers work by monitoring and recording all information coming across a network. Cybercriminals can also use rogue devices such as unsecure Wi-Fi access points. All right, so packet forgery or packet injection interferes with an established network communication by constructing packets to appear as if they are part of a communication. So right on this image illustration here, you can see something that is similar to what is called packet sniffing. Alright, so a cyber attack is just standing in the middle and listening to every single communication that is being made across the network. So the different domains now, alright, include the manufacturing, alright, the energy production and distribution, the communication, transportation system. All right. So now under the manufacturing, we have the industry controls, automation, SCADA. Another energy production, we have the electrical or smart grid system, the oil and gas. Then other communication, we have phone, email, and messaging. Then transportation, we have air travel, rail, and over the road travel. So on a personal level, everyone needs to safeguard his or her identity, data, and computing device. So everyone needs to guard their gadgets. All right. So everyone needs to have a general level of awareness when it comes to cybersecurity, so that they know how to protect their data first for themselves personally against from cyber attackers. So at the corporate level, it is the employee's responsibility to protect the organization's reputation, data, and customers. At the state level, national security and citizens' safety and well-being are at stake. In the US, the National Security Agency, which is the NSA, is responsible for intelligence collection and surveillance activities. The effort to protect people's way of life often conflicts with their right to privacy. Let's look at spreading cybersecurity threats. So, how do threats spread in the first place? So, attackers can originate from within an organization or from outside an organization. All right. So, um, when the threat is internal, okay, it means that the user or the attacker is within the organization. It could be an employee, it could be a contracted or partner, or can accidentally or intentionally um, it could be a mistake from one of the employees. All right. So internal threats have the potential to cause greater damage than external threats because internal users have direct access to the building and its infrastructure devices. So internal attackers typically have knowledge of the corporate network, its resources, and its confidential data. They may also have knowledge of security countermeasures, policies, and higher levels of administrative privileges. External security threats are um, from amateurs or skilled attackers. All right, they could be people that they could be customers. All right, okay, who just come into to use services. All right, of the particular organizations, and external attacks can be done also through social engineering. Okay, external attacks exploit weaknesses or vulnerabilities to gain access to the internal resources of an organization. So let's look at vulnerability for mobile devices. When I say mobile devices, I mean from your laptops, your mobile phone, your smartwatches, and every other gadgets that you can move around with. So in the past, employees typically used company-issued computers connected to a corporate LAN. So, but today now, mobile devices such as iPhones, smartphones, tablets, and thousands of other devices are becoming powerful substitutes for or additions towards the traditional PC. So more and more people are using these devices to access enterprise information, which is things like BYOD, which is bring your own device, and that is actually a growing trend in the tech space or the tech industry. So the inability to centrally manage and update mobile devices poses a growing threat to organizations that allow employee mobile devices on their network. So it's always safer for organizations to give um, employees or staff dedicated devices for work. Emergency Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is a collection of technologies that enable the connection of various devices to the internet. So IoT technologies enable people to connect billions of devices to the internet. So these devices include appliances, locks, motors, and entertainment devices. All right. They could also be smart watches, right? Refrigerators, light bulbs, all right, washing machines, smart water system, okay, smart air conditions. So this technology affects the amount of data that needs protection. So users access these devices remotely, which increases the number of networks during what protection. With the emergence of IoT, there is much more data to be managed and secure. All of these connections, plus the expanded storage capacity and storage services offered through the cloud and virtualization, has led to the exponential growth of data. Then when it comes to big data, all right, big data is the result of data sets that are large and complex, making traditional data process applications inadequate. So big data poses both challenges and opportunities based on three dimensions, which is the volume of the data, the velocity of the data, and the variety or range of data types and sources. So there are numerous examples of big corporate hacks in the news. So as a result, enterprise systems require dramatic changes in security products design and substantial upgrades to technologies and practices. Additionally, governments and industries are introducing more regulations and mandates that require better data protection and security controls to help guard big data. Advanced weapons. Advanced persistent threat is a continuous computer hack that occurs under the radar against a specific object. So criminals usually choose an advanced persistent threat for business or political motives. So algorithm attacks can track system self-reporting data like how much energy a computer is using and use that information to select targets or trigger false alerts. So algorithmic attacks are more devious because they exploit design used to improve energy saving, decrease system failure, and improve efficiencies. So intelligent selection of victims is another weapon that is being used by threat actors. So in the past, attacks would select the low-hanging fruit or most vulnerable victim. So many of the most sophisticated attacks will only launch if the attacker can match the signature of the targeted victims. So that's just so you know, in an organization, is the most unaware employee that could be the target. Just like they would say, or a proverb would say, um, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Broader scope and cascade effects. So, federated identity management refers to multiple enterprises that let their users use the same identification credentials, gaining access to the network of all enterprise in the group. So, the goal of federated identity management is to share identity information automatically across castle boundaries. So, the most common way to protect federated identity is to tie login ability to an authorized device. Safety implications. So there are many safety implications associated with the dark forces of cybersecurity, including emergency call centers in the US. Okay, are vulnerable. So even 911 are susceptible to attacks. All right, and that could shut down the 911 network, jeopardizing what public safety. So a telephone denial of service attack uses phone calls against a target telephone network, tying up the system and preventing legitimate calls from getting through. So the next generation 911 call centers are vulnerable because they use voice over internet protocol systems rather than traditional landlines. Heightened recognition of cybersecurity threats. So the defense against cyber attacks at the start of a cyber era were low. So a smart high school student or script kiddie could gain access to systems. But now countries across the world have become more aware of the threat of cyber attacks. So the threat posed by cyber attacks now lead the list of greatest threats to national and economic security in most countries. So addressing the shortage of cybersecurity specialists now, the US in US, the National Institute of Standards and Technologies (NIST) created a framework for companies and organizations in need of cybersecurity professionals. So the framework enables companies to identify the major types of responsibilities, job titles, and workforce skills needed. So the seven categories of cybersecurity work are operate and maintain, all right, which includes providing the support, administration, and maintenance required to ensure IT system performance and security. Also, protect and defend, which includes identification, analysis, and mitigation of threats to internal systems and network. Investigate, okay, which includes the investigation of cyber events, all right, or cyber crimes involving IT resources. They collect and operate, which includes specialized denial and deception operations and the collection of cybersecurity information. We also have analyze, include highly specialized review and evaluation of incoming cybersecurity information to determine if it is useful for intelligence. Then also oversight and development provides for leadership, management, and direction to conduct cybersecurity work effectively. Then securely provision, so includes conceptualizing, designing, and building secure IT systems. So within each category, there are several specialty areas, and the specialty areas then define common types of cybersecurity work. All right. So there are different communities that a cybersecurity specialist would like to or would should be um, associated with. All right. So cybersecurity specialists must collaborate with professional colleagues frequently. Right, international technology organizations often sponsor workshops and conferences. So you could visit any of these sites to explore the resources that are available in them. Cybersecurity student organizations and competitors. So cybersecurity specialists must have the same skills as hackers, especially black hat hackers, in order to protect against attacks. So how can an individual build and practice the skill necessary to become a cybersecurity specialist? So student skill competitions are a great way to build cybersecurity knowledge, skills, and abilities. So there are many national cybersecurity skill competitions available to cybersecurity students. Then also industry certifications are also very important. We have the CompTIA Security Plus. Okay, this one is CompTIA sponsored testing program that certifies the competency of an IT administrator in information assurance. Then we also have the CEH, the which is provided by the EC Council, Certified Ethical Hacker. All right, it is an intermediate level certification asserts that cybersecurity specialist holding this credential possesses the skills and knowledge for various hacking practices. We also have the GSEC, which is the SANS Jaya Security Essentials. So this certification is a good choice for an entry-level credential for cybersecurity specialists who can demonstrate that they understand security terminology and concepts and have the skill and expertise required for hands-on security roles. So the SANS Jaya program offers a number of additional certification in the field of security administration, forensics, and auditing. Then we have ISC2, right, which is the Certified Information System Security Professional. So it's a certification. This certification is a vendor-neutral certification for those cybersecurity specialists with a great deal of technical and managerial experience. So it's also formally approved by the U.S. Department of Defense, and is globally recognized industry certification in the security field. Then we also have the ISACA, all right, ISACA, Certified Information Security Manager, all right, CISM. This cybersecurity specialist is responsible for managing, developing, and overseeing information security systems at the enterprise level or for those developing the best security practices. All right, so these are different certifications that are available for you. All right, there are still others, right? There are company sponsored certifications. So these certifications measure knowledge and competency in installing, configuring, and maintaining vendor products. Cisco and Microsoft are examples of companies with certifications that test knowledge of their products. So for Cisco now we have the Cisco Cyber Ops Associates. Right. We also have CCNE Security. All right, the CCN security certification validates the cybersecurity specialist that a cybersecurity specialist has the knowledge and skills required to secure Cisco networks. So, how do you become a cybersecurity specialist? You have to study, you have to learn, you have to pursue certification, you have to pursue internships after certification. Look for internship first. All right, then after doing that, you begin to practice at a professional organization. All right, so we've understood the structure or cybersecurity difference between cybersecurity ethical hacker and unethical hacker. All right, why you know why an ethical hacker needs to be as good as an unethical hacker so that you can stop threats. All right, and we'll explore the motivations for cyber criminals, which is actually for financial gain most of the time. All right, or for individual um, benefits. So we, we also understood how to become a cybersecurity specialist, and looked at some different certifications, all right, and what actually is the roadmap to becoming a cybersecurity specialist. You have to just study. It's just a lot of study, a lot of practice. Then you go for certifications, and even if you don't want to go for certifications, I advise you go for internships, seek internship positions. But I think a certification will give you an edge in applying for internships. All right. So that's the end of module 1.